Hello everyone, today our topic is how to import MySQL data into Microsoft Excel. So I want to import all the data that I have in my MySQL database into Microsoft Excel. So for that, what I am going to do is I'm going to first schedule my workflow for once, and I want this to happen only once. So for that, I'm going to use schedule by Pabbly, and after that, I'm going to get all the data that I have in my MySQL database, and I'm going to add that data automatically in my Microsoft Excel workbook. So for that, what I have to do is I have to build a simple connection between MySQL and Microsoft Excel. So for building this connection, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Pabbly Connect, which is an amazing software for automation and integration. In Pabbly Connect, I have to use trigger and actions. In trigger application, I'm going to use schedule by Pabbly. In action application, first I'm going to use MySQL, and then I'm going to use Microsoft Excel. So how I'm going to build this connection? For that, let me take you to my computer screen. I hope all you can see my computer screen, and today we are going to see that how we can import MySQL data automatically into Microsoft Excel. So here in MySQL, I have created a database of all my contacts of customer, and now I want to import all these data of customer in my Microsoft Excel sheet. So all the data that I have in my MySQL database will get added automatically in my Microsoft Excel sheet. So for doing this all automatically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Pabbly Connect. So with Pabbly Connect, I'm going to build a simple connection between MySQL and Microsoft Excel. So after creating this connection, what is going to happen is that automatically all the data that I have in my MySQL database will get automatically imported in my Microsoft Excel sheet. So for using Pabbly Connect, what I have to do is I have to open a new tab and search for pabbly.com/connect, and this will take us to this landing page of Pabbly Connect. Here we have two options: sign in and sign up for free. If you don't have any account, then you have to sign up for free, and it will take only 2 minutes of your time, and you will get 100 of tasks free every month. Or if you already have an account, you can just sign in and you will get to see this page. So these are all the apps that Pabbly offers, and we are going to use Pabbly Connect here. For that, I have to click here on this Access Now button under Pabbly Connect, and this will take us to dashboard of Pabbly Connect. Here, this is the workflow section, and we can see all the workflows that we will create here. And this is the folder section. We can create new folder here, and we can save any workflow in any particular folder that we want. Now here, I want to create a new workflow. For that, I have to click here on this create workflow button, and this window will pop up. Here I have to name my workflow. So I'm going to name it as my objective, which is to import MySQL data into Microsoft Excel. Now I have to select the folder where I want to save my workflow. So I'm going to open this tab. And in this tab, I will find all the folders that I have created in my Pabbly Connect account. And in this, I have this particular folder of MySQL. So I'm going to select this. And I'm going to use this particular folder to save my workflow. Now I'm going to click on create. And this will take us to this most important window of our workflow. Here we have two boxes, trigger and action. So these are the two main principles on which our workflow works on. And trigger says when this happens, action says do this. So trigger is going to be the first step that will get executed in our workflow, and action will just follow that. So here we will first set up our trigger, and in trigger I'm going to use schedule by Pabbly. So by using schedule by Pabbly, what is going to happen is that I'm going to schedule my workflow to get execute. So I only want my workflow to execute once. So for that, I'm going to select this option of how often you want to run your workflow. So I'm going to open this tab, and I'm going to select this option of once. Now I have to give a date and time when I want my workflow to work. So I'm going to give a date and time of 2nd of April 2024, 3:15 PM. So this will be my time and date. Now I have to click on save, and I have successfully scheduled my workflow. Now what I need to do is I need to set up my action steps, and here what I need is I need the data that I have in my MySQL database, and I want to get all the data from my table that I have in my MySQL database. So for that, I have to set up my action step. So I'm going to open this tab, and here my action application is going to be MySQL. So I'm going to select MySQL here, and I have to give an action event. So I'm going to open this tab, and for getting all the data, I am going to run a custom query. So I have to click here on this option of custom query. So this is going to be my action event. Now I have to connect MySQL with Pabbly Connect. So I'll click here on connect. I will click on add new connection. And for connecting my MySQL account with Pabbly Connect, I have to give all these details. So I need the database username, database password, host, database, and port. So I'm going to fill all these details here. And for connecting to MySQL with Pabbly Connect, you have to give all the data of your database and MySQL account. So I'm going to fill my details here. So these are all my details. Now I have to click on save. And here my connection is successful. Now what I need to do is I have to give a SQL query that I want to run. So for this, let me take you to my SQL database first. And in this database, I have this table of new contacts. And in this, I'm going to run a query of select. So let's go back to Pabbly Connect. And here I'm going to type my query. So my query will be select from new contacts. So this new contact is the name of my table. Now this is going to be the query that I want to run. Now what I need to do is I need to first toggle off this response of simple response. So why I have toggle off this response? Because I have a lot of data in my database and I'm going to receive a lot of data from my SQL database here in Pabbly Connect. So I want that data in advanced format so that I can use that in further step, and it will be easy for me to get that data in advanced format and to use it further. So now I have to click on save and send test request button. And here we can see I have received this response. So in this response, I have all the data that I have in my MySQL database, and I have received all that data from my table here in Pabbly Connect. So this data is in array format. Now what I need to do is I need to process this array and I need to get the data out of this array. So for that, what I have to do is I have to set up one more action step. And here I'm going to use iterator by Pabbly. So I'm going to select iterator by Pabbly. And now I have to give an action event. So I'm going to open this tab, and process arrays will be my action event. So I'm going to select this. And I'm going to connect iterator by Pabbly. So I have to click here on connect. And now I have to choose my array. I only have one array in my response, so that is already selected. Now I have this important note that says the response includes the first expanded data set as values, which can be mapped in further steps at the time of workflow execution. It will process all values one by one. We support iteration of maximum 500 records at once. Now what is going to happen is that here in the response, I'm going to get the first expanded data of my array. And when this workflow is going to get executed, then automatically all the data that I have in my array will get processed one by one, and I will get all the data. So now what I need to do is I need to click on save and send test request button. And here we can see I have received this response. So in the response, I have the ID, I have the first name, which is demo, I have the last name, which is user, I have the mobile number of my customer, I have the email address, which is demouser@pabblytudes.com. So this is the first expanded data of my array, and I have received this data of my customer here. Now what I need to do is I need to use this data, and I want to add this data or import this data in my Microsoft Excel sheet. So for that, I have to set up my last action step, and here my action application is going to be Microsoft Excel. So I'm going to select Microsoft Excel here, and now I have to give an action event. So I'm going to open this tab, and add row to worksheet will be my action event. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to connect Microsoft Excel with Pabbly Connect. So I'll click here on connect. I will click on add new connection, and I will connect with Microsoft Excel. And now I have to click on accept to give access to my account. So I'm going to click here, and my connection here is successful. Now what I need to do is I need to first select my workbook that I want to use. So for the workbook, I have to take you back to my Microsoft Excel sheet. And in Microsoft Excel, I'm using this workbook, which is named as customer contact details. So I'm going to map this in Pabbly Connect. So let's go back to Pabbly Connect. And for selecting the workbook, I have to open this tab. And in this tab, you will find all the workbooks that are connected with your Microsoft Excel account. And in this, I want to use this particular workbook of customer contact details. So I'm going to select this. And here we can see all the details have changed according to my workbook. Now we have all these columns in my workbook. So I have the ID, first name, last name, phone number, and email column. Now what I need to do is I need to fill all these columns with the details that I've received from my SQL database, and I'm going to map all those details here. So for that, I have to use mapping. And what mapping is a technique through which I can retrieve the data from the previous steps, and the data that is changing will get replaced with the new data in the real time. So for mapping, I have to click here. I will open the response of iterator by Pabbly, and this is my ID, which is 0. So I'm going to map this. Similarly, I have to give the first name. So I have to click here. I will open the response of iterator by Pabbly, and this is my first name, which is demo. So I'm going to map this. I'm going to map the last name. Now I'm going to map the phone number and the email address. So I have filled all the required details here. Now what I need to do is I need to click on save and send test request button. And here we can see I have received this response. So this is a positive response, and this means that I have added all this data in my Microsoft Excel workbook. Now to check this, let me take you to Microsoft Excel. And here we can see I have added this new row. So this is my ID, which is 0. I have the first name, which is demo. Last name is user. I have this random phone number. And I have the email address, which is demouser@pabblytudes.com. So here we can see that this was my first expanded data set that I have received from my array that I have retrieved from MySQL database, and I've used all those data and I've imported that in my Microsoft Excel workbook. Now let me take you to Pabbly Connect. And here what is going to happen is that I have scheduled my workflow to schedule at a time and date, and whenever that date and time will arrive, automatically this workflow will get executed, and automatically all the data that I have received from MySQL database will get retrieved, and one by one all the data will get imported in my Microsoft Excel workbook. So here my workflow got executed and my scheduled time has arrived. Now what should happen is that automatically all the data that I have received from MySQL database will get imported automatically in my Microsoft Excel workbook. Now to check this, let me take you to my Microsoft Excel workbook. Now here in my Microsoft Excel workbook, we can see that all the data that I have MySQL database got imported here. So here my connection between MySQL and Microsoft Excel is working successfully, and all the data that I had in my MySQL database got imported automatically in my Microsoft Excel workbook. Now let's go back to Pabbly Connect. And here we have created this connection between MySQL and Microsoft Excel in such a way that all the data that I had in my MySQL database got imported in Microsoft Excel workbook. So let's summarize what we did here. So first I have set up my trigger, and here my trigger was scheduled by Pabbly, and I have scheduled my workflow for once. Then I have set up my action steps, and first I have used MySQL, and here my action event was customer query. Then I have used iterator by Pabbly to process the arrays that I have received from MySQL. And in the last, I have used Microsoft Excel, and here my action event was add row to worksheet. So this is how I have successfully created this workflow, and you can also create this workflow by following all the steps that I did in my workflow. And I'm also going to put the link of my workflow in the description so you can check it out from there, and thank you for watching this video.
Not just these applications, you can automate and integrate a lot more applications like this by using Pabbly Connect. So if you want to reach out to us, then email us at support@pabbly.com. And if you have any queries, then you can write us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any issue with the pricing, then you can visit this link. And if you like this video, then please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.